look at Binance, for example, Binance created a kind of platform that is reasonable. It gives the first platform to those that are beginners. I mean, their app is very beginner friendly. And if you want to move to a pro, you can go from there. So I want to believe this idea born out of designing in an human-centered way. So that's a simple example in order not to take our time. Thank you. So basically, to summarize, these are the 3 points: market creation, human-centered design, and of course, innovation. So those 3 strategies are supposed to be used so that we can have growth in our startups. Thank you. Hello.
Sorry, please just give me a second.
Human-centered design, and of course, innovation. So those 3 strategies are supposed to be used so that we can have.
All right. Yes, we're good. All right. Thank you so much, Rashid. I mean, one of the key things, I actually noted one of the most important things that you said, everything we're important, but I noted designing should be human-centered. I mean, whatever thing you're doing, whatever product you're trying to develop, you should ensure that it is human-centered and you understand what people need before you roll out a product, into the market. Thank you so much. So my next question is going to be for Hamid. So what digital innovation success models can one use to categorize digital innovations or digital startups or innovations, as successful or not?
Oh, okay. Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, very, 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 very well.
All right, cool. So basically, for startups, I think the question is not about whether categorizing these startups as successful or not. We are still at the early stage in the whole startup revolution, and a couple of years from now, we'll be able to see those of the startups that we categorically tag as successful or not. But a basic model that I think all startups should be able to, use as part of their strategy for their business model is impact. Apart from profit, what other social good does your product or your service render, right? So impact to me is that model that I think startups should be able to look at. If you are just in the business to make money, of course, that is what will make the shareholders happy. But what other societal benefit are people getting from your business solution? How many people are you employing? How many people are directly benefiting from those you employ? How many people are actually making happy with the product that you introduced? Is this solving a real problem, or is it just like an add-on that is just there to to decorate the startup space? So basically, for me, I think that the question is not about a model or not, and it's still early for us to say that, okay, these startups are successful or not. We just have to look at the most basic business model, which is impact. So I think that is what I have to say for now. Thank you.
Yes. I mean, I think you really have a valid point, because when you create a software or an application or what have you product, and then you're trying to solve a problem, it should be human-centered, as Abdurrashid said, and it should also create impact, because at the end of the day, it's the impact that will help you evaluate if your product is good or bad.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Adam. Thank you so much, Hamid. So next question to you, Hamid, again. What are the differences between market segmentation and product segmentation? Which one is best for startup?
Okay, well, First, it's a fundamental question. We need to understand the two. Product segmentation and market segmentation, they are often used together, but they're not the same thing. Because if you look at product segmentation, for example, when a business changes its product or tweaks that product in order to appeal to different markets, that is product segmentation. So a company has a product, but it has markets in like 4 to 5 countries, and it changes a certain part of that product to appeal to all their customers in those 5 countries, for example. And let me give a typical example. Coca-Cola with Coke, we know the general Coke now. So do you know that the taste of Coke in Nigeria is different from the one in India? And the one in India is different from the one you taste in America. Even though it's the same shape, it's the same bottle, and it looks dark or black, the content looks the same, but the taste is different. Now, that is a typical product segmentation. That's an example of a typical product segmentation. While market segmentation is when a business changes its marketing strategy in order to appeal to a different market. So the main reason companies actually have market segmentation strategy is to help them to send messages to their target customers or their target markets. Now, this is it sounds a little bit similar, but product segmentation is you changing your product to serve different markets, while market segmentation is you changing your messages, your marketing, your communication messages, and all your marketing materials to suit to those 5 countries. So for example, if Coca-Cola is doing an ad in Ilorin, it's going to run an ad in Yoruba instead of in English. Now, this is market segmentation because majority of the people in Ilorin speak Yoruba, or if they're in Kano, for example, Coca-Cola does, in fact, actually they are doing it right now. I've seen some of their billboards. Now, Coca-Cola will now run an ad or put up a billboard in Hausa language. Now they are segmenting their market and they are reaching that market through key messaging. So I think basically that is the differences between product segmentation and market segmentation. Thank you.
Yes, I totally agree with you on how if Coca-Cola is doing an advert and they're doing it in a particular language, that is because they've done their research and they understand the kind of community they're coming into, and they understand the language that these people better understand. And that is one key thing that anyone who is into this space or whatever space that you are, you must ensure that you understand who these people are, you understand the languages they speak and they understand. And then you understand that whatever you're bringing is going to be solving a particular problem or the other. So you just don't jump on people and say, oh, this product, you have to use it, you must use it. No, there's a selling point, there's a unique selling point that you must bring into field that when you say it, they'll be convinced that, oh, Coca-Cola is better than other products, Thank you so much, Mike. So Abdrashid, I'm back to you. So what are the difference? So how should Abdrashid now? How should government prepare itself for Industrial Revolution 4.0?
Oh, yeah. So when I jumped into the into the call, I met a discussion going on about. A question was asked if the government is needed for such a thing. For startup growth. You see, I would like to start from that angle. Government is very powerful and government is needed. We've tried different approach. The approach that we've been using in the tech startup, tech space is attack the government. For now, I think we should change our strategy by accepting and dialoguing with the government. So you may want to take this down. There is no absolute substitute for government, for a working government. There is no absolute substitute for a working government. Government is needed at every point. More importantly, when you talk about economics, government is at the center, the front, and behind everything. Everything revolves about government when it comes to allowing free markets, allowing pricing and every other thing. So if you now ask me how government should help the fourth industrial revolution, if I get your question, the first thing is make the formation of entrepreneurial activity a government priority. I mean, government should make it their priority. Government should also ensure their policies, they are broadly focused. I mean, they shouldn't do a policy just because someone deleted a tweet and, you know, they try to ban a whole thing. I mean, a whole, say Twitter, for instance. So that's exactly what it is. So government should not make policy that are just narrowly focused. It should be it should be broadly focused. Another is allow natural growth from top down. They should embrace this growth such that they try to accept what is going on and accept that the solution has to start from them. Another aspect that is very, very key to us is R&D. Government should increase spendings on R&D. I mean, for development, that's why it's called research and development. For development to come, there has to be a research, and there cannot be research without proper funding. This has been affecting our patent activity. You know, Nigeria is far behind when it comes to doing new things and every other thing like that. Another one, government should enhance productivity. When from the civil service to other parts of what we are as a nation, government should enhance productivity. So make life easier for people. I mean, another aspect of it that is very important is tertiary education. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, yes, we can hear you very well.
Tertiary education. With the growth fintech is amassing in Lagos, Nigeria, I don't want to believe University of Lagos or any other university in Nigeria do not have a course yet called fintech. I mean, our tertiary education are just far behind. So the government has to work on tertiary efficiency such that we are open to new ideas. So yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rashid. I mean, I wish we could go on and on this session, but we do not have enough time. So thank you so much, Rashid and Ahmed. I'm going to go back to the stage now. See if anyone have questions for you, and you guys respond in 2 minutes. Is that fine? All right, thank you.
That's fine.
All right, thank you so much, Ajaho Rashid. Thank you, Ahmed Idris. It's so amazing having you guys with us today. Your weight of experience really shows your responses. Thank you so much. If you have any question, kindly use the chat box to ask your questions. While from the hall, we will take questions from the hall as well and get it across to you. Thank you so much. Yeah, before we take a question, we are still taking questions. But before we take more questions, please kindly tweet or talk about this event online, take a screenshot and share about it, tag Ahmed Idris and tag Rashid Ajao. They will paste in their Twitter link in case you have any follow-up questions for them online. So we are ending this section and moving to the startup page by Mr. in the next few minutes. Thank you.
If it is Ahmad, raise your hand and leave it straight up. If it is Ahmad, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 people. If it is Rashid, raise your hand. 2, 3, no, nah. So because majority of you did not get it right, I will assume that all of you were not listening to our conversation. That is it. Because it was Rashid that mentioned creating product designs that are human-centered. Yeah, I know you got it right. I mean, if I'm going to give everybody a this or just guide in here, because you mentioned it first, I could hear you say Rashid, but all of you were contemplating. Okay, so another question. Who among Rashid and Ahmed mentioned great who among Rashid and Ahmed mentioned something about government? Okay, nice. Who mentioned something about impact? So Ahmed. How would you say still Rashid? You said so confident. Okay, I want to hear why. What did he say? So actually, Ahmad that mentioned impact. Rashid mentioned human centered, and Ahmad mentioned impact. If you're in doubt, this session was actually still like so as a comfort, you can just go back to watching and listen attentively. Who mentioned impact out of the topic. So yeah, thank you so much guys for staying tuned and listening to the conversation. The reason why we have to have this particular session is because most people go into the tech space and do not have the right access to information. So when I mean access to information, so it is not only about you developing your skills, to know how to program, to know how to develop software, to know how to do whatever product. But what is the market saying about the solution you're trying to proper to the problem you've identified? Another thing is, if you notice two of them, they made mention, the main emphasis on market. So the people on this role, if I should do a research now, there will be a common problem. And if I should do a research over there will be another common problem. Meaning that everybody in this hall will not have the same problem. They will not have the same need. So for somebody living in a remote community, so imagine going there and saying, want to introduce boats, want to introduce Uber, as in how to take me to my palm kernel tree. I will take it to my farm or take it to the river. It's not a need. They don't need it. They don't need it because the way most communities are centered, it is in a way that you can easily spread. You know that how many of you have been to a marginalized community before, like a remote community? How many of you? 1, 2, 3, 4 communities. Your village. Okay, where's your village? You know, what is where village? Okay, where? Ozoa. Okay, who else? You, where? Udi, in Kano State. What about you? Imo State. Where is it? Sorry? Umbani community. Okay, so there will be something similar with this community. So if I drive to this community that they mentioned, do you know that it will be easier for me to trek around the community than to drive around? Do you agree? Because by the time you trek, they don't have potholes like the school, and they don't also have many tiled roads, but their roads are graded. Do you understand? So by the time you're driving and you're doing a research, you won't be comfortable. But trust me, when your sneakers and around, you won't even feel it. But if you straight from here to airport road, you'll feel it in your body. That's to let you know that if you provide a solution to that type of community, you cannot compare it to Lorraine. Because the problem they have here in Lorraine is totally going to be different from the one that they have in Ottawa. Ottawa is a village. Lorraine is the capital of the state that houses Ottawa. You cannot go to Ottawa and say, okay, so I'm developing this software that will ensure that you order for a ride whenever I want to leave your house. Who is going to use it? First thing first, this guy don't have access to digital mobile phone. At least you have to have access to digital mobile phone. Or you have to have access to a code, even if you're not using a code. So you must ensure that this one making emphasis on the market, because most people nowadays just go out, they develop product designs, and they assume that they are not selling, or they assume that their product is not accessible to the public. That is because your product is not solving my problem, so I can use it. Do you understand? And you must also ensure that when you identify the problem that you're trying to solve, you're able to reach the right audience where your product is in the market. So the people that are going to be using your product are the right people and not the wrong people, so that you don't get the wrong results. I think one of them also mentioned something about when Ahmed was talking about market segmentation, he mentioned something about vocabulary. Did you guys hear that? Yeah. And we both agree that if vocabulary is going to do an advert for today, the majority of us in Kwara State, we speak one language. What's the second language? What's the third language? Huh? Okay, so how many of you grew up in Kwara State? One, okay, quite a number, yeah. So I remember when I was very, very young, at the age of my parents at the back, I remember that we used to watch AM Express. Do you watch AM Express? In the morning. Yeah. And then on Radio Kwara, when Radio Kwara was still very much indigenous, they would do series of programs that would accommodate all languages, a couple of languages in the state. And then Kwara TV also. So Kwara TV do they do it in Baruba, they do it in languages of the northern kind, they do it in Yoruba, and then they try to do a couple of Igbo because person accommodates everybody. So if you go to the particular space here in Kwara State, you see majority of guys that are Igbo, right? So if you imagine you're going there and you're speaking Yoruba, it might not be difficult for them to understand because they're already like they can grab the concept of the same. But you to be on the same side with people and for them to welcome you can speak in Igbo. So that means you need to understand the market. So if Coca-Cola is doing an advert and saying, drink this, pet, whatever, and do this and that, you can take it to Sobe FM. Sobe FM will not do it just in Yoruba, they will do it in English. Because they understand that the majority of people here in Kwara State, they understand English, and the majority understand Yoruba. If you see a northerner will understand Yoruba than a Yoruba person will understand northern language. Do you agree with me? In Kwara State here, I've done that. I remember that there was a particular time where we had a keynote, and then we went through this audio market. And then those guys that sell all these parts, all these car parts, tires, and all. Majority of them are Igbo. So when we got there, because we can't speak Igbo, we have to talk the language of the advocacy of and all of this PG. So you don't want to assume that they all understand your back. You must understand that they do not all understand your language. And you must be able to speak to them in the language that you can easily understand what you say. Same as when you get to an Hausa speaking environment. I want to give you guys a trick. Don't buy anything from a mother. Just say Sanu. Just say Sanu. So the moment you say that Sanu, the outside guy, the mother will feel uncomfortable and assume that you understand the language. So they are very quick with that thing, and that's just what this conversation is about. Understand your market, understand what the economy is saying about what your product is, and yeah, we can go from there. So the next thing on the agenda is pitch. I mean, you have pitched before. Pitch, P-I-T-C-H. How many of you have pitched before? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. This one.
No, this one.
This one, don't be shy. The man in the carpet color. All right, yes, that's it. Let's start. Don't worry. Let's start there. Thank you. So, we're going to be having a startup pitch on Next app, and we're going to do that for 20 minutes. But before we dive into it, while I'm trying to get ready, I want you to pitch in 1 minute. 1 minute. I want you to pitch. I want to pitch Nikon camera. Yes. Yes.
Disconnect this thing. Disconnect this thing.
So Nikon camera,
okay, so I said Nikon camera. You don't know what Nikon camera is. You say you don't know what Nikon camera is. That's it. That was right. Okay, so take it again. Which is Nikon camera?
well, Nikon camera
So let's assume that I'm pitching a Nikon camera. I will just say, maybe because you guys you have access to your phone, and then I can just talk about the angle of, do you know that your phone memory storage can get full at any time? Do you know that instead of taking cameras, taking pictures to your phone, you can easily use the Nikon camera. You just launch this mini Nikon camera that you can travel around with. And instead of wasting your storage on your phone, you just pictures. It's not so expensive. You understand that kind of? You must identify a problem. Everybody has a storage problem. I mean, know how. My sister, every time she sit down on the bench and scrolling and she'll be looking for pictures. So you're coming in and solve a particular stuff. So you guys can laugh at my pitch. Okay, so you're pitch. Yeah. I know the time is running, but I want you guys to understand what it is. Who is pitching? Okay. So when you get there, we can see what you do. Let me let them. So pitch a news mask produced by Kwarabuild.
okay, guys. Understand the fact that we are working with the and it is something very similar to that we don't take pictures and then want to use something maybe identify the according to us and rate institutional that is studying.
Thank you. Oh God. So I'll make a point. Number one, it introduce itself. So you guys, no, in 1 minute. The most important thing you must do in 1 minute is to introduce yourself. People must know what you want, what you do. They must know why you are here. In 1 minute, you can do that in like 20 seconds. And then you say, I work as part of development. That's all. And then you go into so smart. And then not smart. You don't come from the angle of the teacher. I mean, listen, everybody is way down by the pandemic. COVID-19, no! You need to know the problem that you need to know about. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, okay, so the gist is, I know this guy is not prepared for this. And I am not also prepared for it. We're not both prepared for it. Do you understand? And one thing I need to let you know is that when you come to gatherings like this and you want to learn, you must be prepared because you never can tell. You might get funding opportunity that will just come by and they will ask you to pitch your business, pitch yourself as a brand. You must come here and do that. So you, at the time that you enter this venue, you must know what people's problems are already. See, I already know you people's problems. I know you want to eat. By the time I come and say I'm a caterer, I know there's needs. By the time I come and I say this is AC, you can use it like this. Do you understand? So let's have get it? What? I don't know. We don't have idea for a pitch. How many minutes? 20 minutes is too much for a pitch. We just use a lot of things here. That's okay, no. So we're gonna do 15 minutes for your pitch and your presentation. So we're gonna have Majid, Amaro, Mr. Adio, Mr. and you. It's a new mobile app that is working. Can you have Alright, so I need a time to keep from the audience so that Majid doesn't feel like I don't want to pitch. Who is that? No, I don't want to. You can. Come on, please. What's your name? What's your name? What? Oh, marvelous. Let's appreciate marvelous. Marvelous. But this is starting level. It starts now as I'm speaking. And he's going to spend 15 minutes with us. I mean, 15 minutes, it's okay. So 15 minutes, marvelous. Are we ready? 1, 2, absolute silence. And closures.
Yeah, good day, everyone. Okay, my name is Adil. So my coming here to this pitch analysis product which on all things that. But before I proceed, I would like to ask one or two questions to the audience. Amongst all everyone here, who is like a developer, data scientist, any developer? Okay, what about designers? You are designers. That's good. So, among everyone, how many of us are portfolio? So, everyone else doesn't have a portfolio. Okay. So, Mesa is a value one page size platform which helps to curate everything about you just into a single page. It might be as many of you, it might be imagine I'm a software engineer. I write articles, I create podcasts, I do all sorts of things. I need a single page where people can access whatever it is that I am doing. I'm a designer, I have my designs from Figma, I have them on Blue, I have them on Freelance. But I want to show someone what I'm doing. I don't want them to have two numerous sites. I want them to access everything on a single page. That's what we start for us. How is it done? So let's start able to the website just in 5 minutes. Showcase their works, get more clients, receive payments, track analytics, all of this for good. You don't have to write the code because I know just of us want to be able to videos when I'm some engineers where you're like, oh, I don't have time to sit down and start designing writing the HTML and likes. You just want something that just talk with that, add your context, and it's how people start accessing you. So there we have it. Since those are users, what buys their start page as an extension of the page. Yeah, we launched actually last month, and just do my now we have users. And my name of page products was let us know what we are doing as we start, and also how this card can be beneficial to us. How we can use this card to improve our brand. How we can use this card to target more bodies. How we can use this card to reach our potential clients. So, yeah, this is just like the more of how we start looks like. Like it's have numerous sections which you can customize and put whatever deal with platform. The mobile cost platform and accessible to the mobile phone, whatever platform guide you are using, be it an iPad or a MacBook or a desktop or whatever it is like you are using. So another way we use Insta, we have our domain on Insta.com. So I'll just like give you a quick description of how we about using Insta. Yeah. So this is our main stack. Yeah. So as you can see on the landing page, create one page. We showcase your incredible works and other things we help you with payments for clients. We help you with the community and we help you with it. Things that connect your content marketing and to all in a single place to boost your conversion rate. So to get started with Insta, you actually need to customize user platform. That is what we use to track and whatever or whatever we design. That is what we use to access you. So the first step, like I will also want to say when you can also create an account on Insta, but I know also people which will help you. Please, I like everyone, I don't know how to provide the smartphone. But before I do that, I'm saying so that we can actually have a Google Lab or Snap, but then just show my page. So this is my page from Insta. This is my profile. You can see details about everything there is done without writing people like code. We give you all you need, and you can actually subscribe use any of our sections in creating your page. You can see. Oh, sorry. I have my header, I have this about me, I have articles which I have written, I have projects that I worked on, I have my recommendations which you are giving me. I have, well, those of us who love this music, I want you to like, oh, why I love this music and that. I can also embed the music of choice into the platform and you can actually see what the music like. Also, you can also use videos in the platform, like probably you are using content creator and you want people to actually see content implemented. You can also embed your videos also on the platform and everyone coming in can actually see what you are doing. The benefit of this is you don't have to start telling people that, oh, I have my content on YouTube, I have my content on Instagram, I have my content on LinkedIn. You are bringing everything about everything showcasing you as a individual. You are bringing everything just into the single place. Also, for us who have newsletters, you can also let me subscribe to your newsletters, everything just for this. You don't have our users start navigating place because we users when we are doing something and we go to another place and we notice that we might get engrossed because that and find to go back to the page that is using for. So we want people to actually see everything about you just on a single page. So coming back to designing up page, so are we clear now? Yeah. Okay, so now I just choose down the design of itself. Just select it exactly. I already have my design to reject it. So I'm putting it to next thing. So you just use another use the design from your choice. So just change it. Okay, again, this then you can proceed to create a slash. Hello, are we following us? Like you said, why? Yeah, I said, and I put about okay, so there's move on. Sometimes you can choice, whatever it is, it's in what was tells about you. Are you doing that? Are you a so are you the model? Whatever it is, you can actually select that. So and that's we have created your package. And all of that things, all of that stuff can actually follow. So continue setting up your page. Another amazing thing about this is that for those of us who know about initial, another amazing thing about this is that you can import your data from initial or into, for example, you have the initial people, and you also want data to appear on the package. You can import everything. If you have initial, all you just need to put your initial and everything you have from initial gets imported to your package. If you are listening to this, it gets imported to your page. Or I'm not doing that because I'm not my yeah, and this is the dashboard. So we have a lot of functionalities here. We can create links, can create text, can add images, can add image, can add video, can add audio. And we also have other tools which are pipeline. So you can also say preview of devices to have on your next start page. So what has been into our page now? Can I see? That's good. Who else? Okay, that's good. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to everyone of us also. Those who have to so you can explore it and see what potentials in Mainstar has for us. Also, in Mainstar, the way also needs to but I have to ask to show us. Okay, let's do that. Another thing about Mainstar is you can actually track your of how people are doing the page, which location are looking in your page. For example, this page, I have 260 who are looking my page. Yeah, I have users from the United States. I have some from Canada. So you can interact where people are actually sitting. So you know where the target audience are. Then another thing, for all your links people, you can actually see the one which people interact with the most. I can see people actually interacted with my GitHub page and my LinkedIn, also my WhatsApp. So with that, you can actually do much about if it's Instagram, you can actually do Instagram page much and that's possible to work on your Instagram page to target those followers that are using your media. If it's Twitter as well, you can also see that people are doing my Instagram page. If it's LinkedIn, you can also use that to know how we can optimize your LinkedIn page. So once we explore the page and seeing which thing we can have on the page, and actually suggest a picture for us, or if it's important, can also report for us. Thank you so much.
Okay, so next question is supposed to start by 12, so we're just going to rush of I just presentation in 3 minutes. So how many minutes is 10? 12. Please can we appreciate him? So personally, I have a couple of observations, and maybe because I was. Do you have any questions for Academy? Okay, they had zero in the chat. This time. Who else? You guys know, my friends, you don't have questions. I mean, if I were you in the audience, I would ask. I don't have a program code. How can I be I mean, you have that question, not to ask. So you are back. Okay. Who else? Okay, this time. This time, yes, thank you. Who else? Okay, this time. This time. Okay, then this time. So we have 6 people that are going to ask you questions. You will ask your question in 20 seconds each, and I'll come back to you. So you have to yes, and then note all their questions. So let's go. 1, 2, 10 seconds.
Someone like me, when people ask about my I'm so obsessed about what people think about my work. So my question is there any features or anything that can allow users, people that view my portfolio on my page to give a reaction from it?
Reaction, comment, your thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Barada. I have two questions. Firstly, I want to say because it was highly low. It has a particular choice. I don't have any interest. My first question is, if I actually have my portfolio, what if I want to do later? My pinpoint of access, will I be able to delete it? Number one. Number two, am I the only one? Or let me say, are those that are on that app that will be able to access it? And how do I share my portfolio? Number three. So, I think, okay, the last one that's very important is what if I mistakenly deliver? Will I be able to access it again? Thank you.
Thank you, Baraka.
Thank you. So my question because of the presentation, I can't find
Thank you. You are.
Okay, thank you. Two questions. Number one, this is available as mobile application, iOS, Google.
Another question is, I can see that so many things to a lot of data. I don't saw anywhere you ask if I could import data from another portfolio website. What's the guarantee that this data is safe? Right? Let's not talk like Facebook. What are you going to be doing with that information? Then plan to set. Are you monitoring my activities or anything like that? Thank you.
This is a very important question.
Thank you. Very well, how do you reach out to how to make developing vision and
Yes, very, very important. And that was why for the scope series, and they asked that question that they were asking. All right.
Thank you very much. Something like this. All right. My question is, of course, the profile is a platform to update your profile, and of course, we have some other platforms that also provide this service. What's your competitive advantage?
Thank you. Any other question? No. So, should I allow you answer them or ask the question?
Yeah. The first question asks about comment or reaction, right? What does? Okay, presently, you have comments. Like I said, it's not to assess you. It's not for them to trust you. Anyone wants to reach out to you, have platforms where you can actually reach out to you. It's just for them to build details about you, but you can't put a contact detail. For example, you have WhatsApp, you have your name here. So you can increase that for people to actually reach out. The second question is, if mistakenly is the platform, right? I think you are okay. Let's start with application, not mobile application. So we can do it already on the web. All you just need to do is go to Instagram.app and can access it. So if you have, so you don't actually need to download anything. Your mobile. That's true. Then ask about sharing your link. Okay. On my page, you know, on your page, we have various options to share your links. We have Facebook, we have Instagram, Telegram, we have Twitter, we have WhatsApp. And also this is the public page, mstart.com/. So this is my page, mstart.com/public. So that's what you are going. But the first thing I will let you know is the moment you create your page, it is not available for public use. So now let me go back to the page and get that first. So you can see that what's in there says publish. So if I go to this thing for now, it's not active. So the page cannot be found until I publish the page. That's when people can actually see whether it is I have to use my okay. Once I get this page, so the publish can see my page. So that's the sharing of page. So I think that one side is if it's the mobile app, it's actually web application. And for data security, if you are selling your data, the data are actually secured. We are not selling your data to the party. So we don't have anything. We are not selling your data. All your data is secured for you. Competitive advantage. Yeah. I gave the reference of share and everything. Have you looked before? In LinkedIn, the only feature you have is just add links. Yes, just adding links. But here, they give the area of adding other text, videos, images, audios. So that's a big point. For someone who is the content creator creates something and most people actually have visuals of what he or she has done. So we give them the opportunity to create that visuals what they have discussed, not just links all to the. So that's really cool. We give you more pictures more important. Also have new pictures that also give us that we don't have this capacity for that questions. And Mr. Yeah, and I said Mr. is for content creators. If you have content creators at home, then it's open to you. But there's no special functionalities that will be special for the education. But so far, you can see you see this for it's actually good.
Somebody asked the question, so we have to all right. So if you guys have any other questions, well, I'm actually very interested in the session, but we'll come back to it after our next session. So right now we're going to move on to an exhibition of robotics, AI, and robotics. It's going to be virtual by Hamid and I would also guess, and I would also like that everyone to pay attention to it. I'm going to have to go back on the side as usual, so I can moderate with Ahmed, and we'll come back to main staff by Adil, so we can have, I know most people would have like new questions that I want to ask, and also have questions because I already have platforms that I have my portfolio. I use Visual a lot, and even my LinkedIn, my own portfolio, that's very good. So we need to talk more on that. So thank you guys. Do you guys want anything right now? No. All right. Do you guys want anything? No. Yeah. Do you guys want anything? No. What do you want? Please. Yes. We'll stop that now. So now, aside that, I'm sure we're good. So you guys take water. We need more water instead of water. I don't care. I'll see you guys in 40 minutes. So stay calm and don't make noise. See, every time I'm about to do this mic, you guys must clap. Because if you don't clap, I'll not come out again. I should not come out.
Hello, can anyone hear me? Hello.
Hi.
Hello. So I mean, I would like to share my screen so I can get my slide.
We're good.
Okay.
Ahmed,
It's
are
still
you
the same
ready
thing.
now?
I can't share. Yes, I'm trying to share my screen, but it's it's disabled. Guess you'd have to give me permission.
Ahmed, just give me like a few seconds. Let me rectify this.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, thank you. We can I present?
Okay, yeah, cool. That's it. Sure. Good. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
All right. Okay. Great. Yes, I can start, right?
Yes, please, Siri. The floor is yours. Thank you. You have 30 minutes.
Okay, 30 minutes. Okay. Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ahmed Arushekbe, and again, really happy talking at the Kwarabuild Tech Conference. So yes, I'll be talking about building fast AR/VR solutions with SwiftXR, and SwiftXR is a platform that is built in Africa, built by us, and is the first no-code WebXR platform in Africa. Again, what WebXR means, what no-code means, we'll dive more into that as I move through my slides. And then we also have a part where I'll run through a live demo. So I'll show you how to use the SwiftXR platform, and then anyone without any experience can actually build augmented and virtual reality experiences using SwiftXR. again, if you have any questions, I don't know how you would moderate that, but again, I'm open to questions, within and like also at the end of the session. So a little bit of my background, just in case you can't see my cam, that's my picture with a very nice HTC Vive on my head. And I'm currently the chapter president Nigeria for the VR AR Association. I also work with PwC as a senior software developer both in XR and also work as a lead software engineer XR for the Swift XR platform. Again, I have like 5-6 years experience in the 3D XR space, and I've been building a lot of solutions in that space. So yes, this is the agenda. We'll talk about what is Swift XR, some of the use cases we've done with some clients, and then also a live demo, which is an hands-on time with Swift XR. So yes, again, this is a snippet of what the interface look like, and definition. It's like in 3 lines, right? So the first one is it's a fast, no-code, cross-platform development solution for building lightweight 3D AR VR experiences. Now, no-code means you don't get to write any single line of code, just drag and drop components. Cross-platform means that you get to use the platform and then you can deploy to desktop, Android, iOS, just with that same project without needing to worry about cross-platform native tools. And then you also get to build interactive 3D, AR, and VR experience. So AR is augmented reality, VR is virtual reality, and then just 3D, just like the interactive 3D on the web. Again, as we've moved more towards this kind of metaverse-centric era, with the likes of Facebook, Microsoft, Google, Epic, and Apple really like moving into the metaverse, there's been a lot of like buzz. And then really the Swift XR platform is to make anyone without having, in quotes, any tech experience or any coding experience, build some of these lightweight AR VR experiences that you can showcase and use for your project. What we've done is we've templated, some of the WebXR libraries. So again, Swift XR was built on something we called WebXR. And it's a library that sort of like, enable AR VR experiences to run on your web browser. So if you template some of the popular libraries, again, you may not know some of them, but some of them are like 3JS, A-Frame, Model Viewer. And it really is to make it easy for non-technical people to, maybe you're not in the XR space, build some of these XR solutions. And in quotes, this what we stand for is that everyone with no experience can actually build a lightweight AR VR solution using Swift XR. So now this is a case study of Swift XR, and this is really some of the things that actually pushed into the development platform. So if you look at the left-hand side where we have that light blue, that's like saying 34989, that's like 3.1 billion devices or 3.5 billion devices are actually leveraging already on web augmented reality solution, right? And then so again the challenge is this is that most time when you get to build, especially like for AR, since our case study, when you try to build augmented reality solutions, you get to build it on Android and iOS, right? So iOS have their own kind of SDK, which they call the AR Kit, and then you also have the Android, also have the SDK, which we call the AR Core, right? And then so the challenge is this is that when you try to build for this stuff, you have to build separately for AR Core and then AR Kit. And then again, it's not all Android that supports AR Core. AR Core is probably supported on some high-end Samsungs, Xiaomi, Huawei, Google. I think Techno just started supporting AR Core and AR Core, but I think some of the older devices actually don't support some of this stuff. So, and then building processes using native approach is very strenuous. So again, you just want to build this small AR application using native approach, and then you get to like write a lot of code just to do it. And the challenge is this is if you're trying to build out using native approach, which is Android and iOS. For Android, for example, you need to build out an APK. Maybe you share it with the person via WhatsApp or whatever platform you want to use. Mostly people share it via the Google Play Store, and then for every update you're making to that app, the user still needs to go back again, download, update the app, right? And then same thing for iOS, right? You have to pass through the Apple Store just to get that user to use it. Now, for all this thing, right, the user just wants, just like a quick try on stuff, maybe just like try a table, a 3D table, a 3D chart, which I'll show you what that means, like in just in space, right? And then the person now needs to go and download a complete APK, right? Very stressful, doesn't make sense. So what we've done is, okay, rather than using that whole process, right, can we do something on your browser? So I will give you a link, you go to your browser, and then you can just like do that same AR experiences. Works on the iOS devices, also work on Android devices, right? Making that process very easy for someone. You want to make any updates, just refresh the web page, and then you are good to go. So this is again, you see a video playing, and then the video just sort of like shows like a quick run through of like what it looks like, building something with the SwiftXR platform. And then get to see, that kind of like, this is speed build, you get to just drag and drop it. We had like an artwork 3D model to it, just do 1 or 2 edits to it, right? And then boom. I'm just waiting for just to show it. Let's do some stuff, make it fancy. And then once we're done, just a single click, you deploy it. Right, it runs on your web browser, and then boom, you can easily just bring that same artwork to your space, right? And then you do this without having to install any kind of like APK or iOS device. It runs on your browser, and then makes it easy for more people to use your solution. So again, our target, which is our actual focus, is sometimes because SwiftXR is a no-code platform, right? So it may be a little bit templated. So meaning that more, if you want to do a more technical stuff, you may not really get to be able to achieve that with SwiftXR currently, even though we have our engineers really iterating a lot on the platform. But our core target is for non-technical user. We're trying to say that, what, we are like the Microsoft Word for XR, right? So you don't need to have any experience, just come to SwiftXR and just easily deploy your AR or VR solution. The ease of use, very easy, drag and drop it. Or maybe a developer, we are looking for quick iteration processes without having to write, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, or even React, depending on where you're trying to build. Or for 3D artists that, you've drawn your 3D model again. Especially for architects, and we have a very nice use case for that at the end. Or businesses looking at templated, WebXR workflow. Maybe a business, so for example, look at the artwork that I showed you, right? It could be like an art company, right? And then you just get to use our platform, and then you don't get to outsource that kind of process to an external developer, right? You just have someone in-house, just drag and drop your 3D artwork to it, and then boom, easy, just have that kind of solution for yourself. So again, this is one of our key features, right? Which is majorly 3. Even though SwiftXR is still in alpha, meaning that we've not really gone for full launch yet, just like a selected kind of users are currently using, although it's still open and anyone can actually try it out, but it's still in alpha. What we've done is we've implemented something we call a web local storage system, right? And because the challenge is we've seen from past experiences that when you're trying to work with 3D assets, right, they're very large. 3D assets is not like images or videos, right? I mean images, especially for web, right? 3D assets can be very heavy, can go from 50 MB to 1 GB depending on where you're trying to deploy, right? And then if we want to implement a cloud storage system, what that means is you have to first upload that 50 MB to the cloud, then we have this in our cloud, and we'll now give you access to use that 3D model, right? And then the whole process of uploading, downloading can take, can be quite frustrating. Imagine you have to upload 30 models, right? And then your network is bad, you have to wait a lot of time. So what we've done is we've built kind of a system whereby once you're on a platform, even though you're not connected to the internet, right? It's it can run offline, and then you can just do all your processes offline without, so really more targeted towards African nations that we have terrible internet connection. And then we've seen that, okay, upload speed can go from 1 to 5 seconds, depending on how large your model is, less than 1 second for models that are less than 200 MB, and then 5 seconds for model that's are above 500 MB. Okay, I see someone drop a link. So if you want to check it out, you can go to www.swiftxr.io, right? Swiftxr.io. Again, you can only use SwiftXR to build your stuff on desktop. It won't work on mobile for now because of kind of infrastructure we need. Also, we have something we call interactive 3D support for non-WebEx devices. Again, this was very huge for us because what it means is that because we know that in Nigeria, for example, we have users that don't have access to sort of like this kind of AR or AR kits, like they can't really do AR. So what we've done for them is we'll give them like an interactive 3D, right? So on your browser, you get to just like play around with some of the models. And then if your device supports AR, you cannot get to do AR. So that way you're sure that once you're deploying using the platform, right, you probably cover like all users as long as you have a browser. So guys that cannot do AR or VR, just see the model in a browser, play with it like 3D, and then if you can do AR, we can take it into AR. Yes, and currently we have no deploy license. So mostly like there are some also WebEx application platform that are actually out there. And then what they do is, you get to pay, for using the platform, and then you also get to pay for deploy your solution, right? So what we've done is we've packaged your process and said, you know what, you don't need to pay for any deploy license, right? Just use our platform for free and then deploy. And then what we've done also, we've handled like we are doing like a one-click deploy. So, it could be quite, cumbersome for non-technical users to be seeing a lot of, all these kind of like lines and all. So we just added like, a single button. You can see deploy site, edit site, right? You get to have your site name, things like site URL, like created at or last update, you can edit it, just a site name. So whatever site name you want, just drop it there and just press deploy your site, right? So at the back end, we handle, audio, model compression, data compression, image compression, the whole packing, repacking for you, and then just making it work well for you on the web. Yep. So this is currently our roadmap. For now we've implemented the alpha version that supports interactive 3D support for non-WebEx devices, and this means that devices that don't support AR or VR, they should still be able to like at least enjoy certain form of this kind of new way of interacting with the web. Our next step is to support multi-format 3D model conversion, right? So this is very important for us if you're trying to like scale out a lot to the market, right? Because we could easily tailor more towards architects that probably work with FBX model, for example. Guys that probably work with 3D printing probably use STL, right? So we'll take all this model, and then at the back end we'll do audio conversion to the format, which is the GLB format required for the web. Then we're also working to release an image tracking, face tracking, and object tracking components. So so in the future you get to like do a lot of like more cool stuff with SwiftXR, which is like do some image tracking, track your face, like some facial filters on the web, and then also like object tracking component, track some objects. And then a very big feature which is actually in the pipeline already is to create 2D image to 3D model API for WebXR. So what this means is, because we're trying to like scale a lot to non-technical users, and then just trying to like increase more accessibility for people. Most people really cannot like create 3D content, right? So we're trying to like, okay, can we have like an API where I just upload an image, and then we convert that image into a 3D model, right? That is what we're working on. We've been able to implement it for like an artwork, where people just sort of like snap like an image of an artwork, they upload it there, just a PNG, and then we take that image, we convert that image to a 3D model, and then you can just easily deploy it straight to the web. So this is some of these use cases we have. I think 1 month or 2 months since we've like pushed out the alpha version, we've got some people using it already. And one of them is Kovac AR. So Kovac AR is a listed company, and then they used the SwiftXR platform to actually launch a product which they call Kovac AR, And what this means for them is that they're going out there, and then they want to disrupt the African real estate business, right? So they're working with developers where they just upload a 3D model, and people can experience some of these buildings, in the physical space. You can see them. This is the team when they launched in Abuja, and then also they were also featured on Business Day, which for us, because like if people are building real stuff with a solution, like it really means big for us and show that, okay, yes, we are on the right path. And what this means for them is they've been able to save a lot of cost on developer, right? If they had to hire a developer, they probably be paying a developer like 2 to 3 million naira, per month to do some solution for them. But by using the SwiftXR platform, they don't get to like, we've taken care of all these technical issues, just use the platform and just do what you want to do. And then we also have a use case which is called artwork here, which I showed in the video earlier, where it was for an arts company, and they just have the 3D model of an artwork. It was a use case, and then they just easily display that arts work in that space. And this is really for sales, right? So you want to sell your artwork, just come to swiftexer.io, drop your 3D model, have the link in your Instagram page, whatever page you want to sell it, and then people can just view that artwork in that space, and more experience, right? And research shows that 40% more people tend to buy when they have when they experience that stuff in that space as compared to just having a flat out 2D website. And then, and this was a very interesting use case. It was totally not expected, right? And it was a blog post, right? And it was done by a medical student, right? So when we built this platform, we thought it's going to appeal more towards developers, or 3D artists or architects, right? But this was a medical student. I just felt like, oh, okay, I could write a blog post about the word diabetes day, that happened, sometimes November 14. And the person was like, what, I could write a blog post, right? And then rather using static 2D images for objects like the food, like the panacea, the art, and some of all this stuff, right? Why not make it more interactive? And the person just came up, downloaded some of these models from Sketchfab, dropped it in the page, and then built a complete blog post, using SwiftTexter. And this was nice because it felt like if a medical student that has no experience with coding or tech-related stuff could do a very nice interactive blog post with AR functions and interactive 3D on the web, it showed that, okay, yes, we are really appealing, to the non-technical user, which is our actual focus. And yes, live demo with SwiftXR. So I'll show you guys how the platform works. I think I still have 10 minutes. Yes, and it's our system to run the platform. But I'll check the chat just in case I have any question.
So you have 10 minutes, and then what is your presentation? Are you done?
No, yes, I want to move to the live demo.
All right.
Just like the demo just on the platform. Yeah. So I saw a question asking about what about digital solutions in the solid minerals exports. Yes, again, the platform is really more generic towards what you're trying to build. So it depends on what you're trying to achieve with it. But for now, our target is cross-platform solutions that are actually lightweight. So you really cannot do something in depth with it. So it's just something basic or very lightweight. So if it's to try out stuff, again, I don't know what you mean by solid mineral. It depends on what you're trying to build with it. But yes, it'll be something I can obviously try out on the platform. And then so let me just move back to the live demo, and then escape. So I just go to waiting for it to load. Yeah. Okay, so can I not see my screen? Is my screen good?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Hello, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. So again, I'm sort of doing some projects. So you can see I have some projects I've done. So I'm just going to just create one, and I just call it Kwarabuild. So just use some very nice stuff. So I have template, right, which we are currently building. And let's say, for example, you just trying to create maybe an artwork template. So we've converted into a template. Just for example, click, okay, I want to build a project using the artwork template, and then okay, just create. And then what it's going to do for you is going to create a project, with that kind of templates, you saw the other time, right? That's sort of have that kind of template where you also have the artwork, and then you can easily deploy it, right? So you could try out some of the templates if you're looking for more templated solution, and then we are still building our templates more, support more stuff. But I'll start with blank, and I just call it the Kwarabuild. Call it just Kwarabuild. Kwarabuild, yeah, and then of course we have some default 3D models, and this is for people that probably don't have access to 3D models. So you can just initialize the project with 3D model, and that would add it to it. And then boom, you can create projects, and then it's going to come with the assets, right? So you have a blank page. You know, it's also like CSS where you can do your desktop mode and your mobile mode. You can also do your night mode, your day mode and your night mode, and some other very, very cool functions. So let's just build something real quick. So we'll start by adding just a column to it, just use the row. And then I could dimension a second. I want to make it the height. So I'll start my desktop mode. I want to make the height, let's say 100%, right? I'll say, okay, view it, just make it like a complete full screen. So I'm happy with this. I can just drop a text here and call it hello Kwarabuild conference 2021, right? And I have this. And then of course you can easily just come to the typography to customize it. Okay, I want a font of vertical, font size, maybe like 32, make it a little bit big. I want to center it. And then of course you have your first one, right? And then you can come to this Google model viewer component, and I'll just pick a model viewer with button. So I have this asset. It's going to come with an initial asset. And I could say, hey, I want under dimension, I want the height to be let's say 60%, just percentage. And then of course I have the height already, right? You can see it already. So it's come to the default 3D model. And so we have some assets we can play around with. So you move to your configurator, which is here, and then you can just like drag and drop some of the assets. I can drag, you know, a ball here, and you can see the ball. You know, I can drag an art here, right? And you can also see the art, right? And you can see by default we already like doing audio conversion, you know, for Apple, for Android at the back end. You can see everything here. So I've gone ahead and created, I think, a very Kwarabuild model just to show it live, right? I call it Kwarabuild. I just drag and drop it here, Kwarabuild conference, right? So you can see like Kwarabuild, just a 3D text of Kwarabuild, and then I could change the color, right? Just some a little bit not so dark, you know. Again, not the best model I could have, but you know, just something to show. And then I could just have like this where I could configure this. I could zoom in it a little bit, right? And then I could say maybe view the logo, or let me say view the text, you know, in your space. So this button, the way the button works is for devices that support AR, you get to see the button. For those that will not support AR, the button will not be visible. Let me just make it a little bit, you know, more pretty. So I've changed the background color to, let's say, black color. And then I could change the text also to like a white color. Right? So it looks a little bit more fancier, right? And then once I'm done with this, maybe I need to add like some description, and then I just add it here. I just say, like Hamed was at the Kwarabuild conference, right? Okay, so maybe typography, maybe vertical now, make it like a 24, just a little bit, and maybe center, just something basic, right? And then for configurator, you have some other stuff we have, right, where you can, you know, you can adjust things like, you know, the shadow strength, you can make it a little bit thicker or smaller, the softness of the shadow, you know, the light exposure. You can say, okay, I want it to be neutral. You can say something like change the font size. And then the tracking mode, we can say, you can say I want it to be wall, which I'll pick because I want people to like view this stuff on their wall, not on the floor. So I'll just say wall. Let me just do floor. I mean, anyone works it out. Shadow strength, and just take it down a little bit. It's like 1, so it looks more cool. And when I'm done, again, you can also view the code. So let's say whatever you've written, for example, you can also view the source code, right? So in case you're a techie person, you know, we take care of everybody, you can see the HTML code we generated for you and also the CSS code for you. If you want to do some NFT related stuff, which you'll probably work in the future too, we have a JSON data that you can also work with, right? We can just use it to create like on the Ethereum blockchain if you're interested. And then once you're ready, and we also like have this export where you can also like export the project as a zip file. You can download it as a zip file and then you're good. And once you're ready, yeah, we have this stuff side dashboard, right? And I can say Kwarabuild, you can see the name entered for me automatically based on the name I have. And once I'm ready, I just need to just press deploy site. And boom, that is site deploy. And once I'm ready, I have this Kwarabuild and I have this deploy to the web. And I can take this link, for example, and I can share it with everyone on the chats, right? and then you can actually access the link, and then everyone from anywhere can now view this link, and then you can see what I build. And if it's time for me to make any changes, just make your changes and also deploy it. Making this whole process very easy. We undo the O3 documentation for you, the CSS, the HTML, the JavaScript for you, and just giving you a single one-click deploy. Yep, right on time. And I think, yes, back to Kwarabuild. I think I'm done. 12:50. If there's any question, I'll be able to take them.
All right, thank you so much, Hamed. I mean, this was really tasky and really interesting. Thank you so much and I like your slides. They're very, very nice. So someone is asking. Okay. All right, so we're going to make the video. So you can always watch this session, or the Kwarabuild conference is streamed on YouTube. So you can just go on YouTube to see Kwarabuild, and then you can see our presentations and the sessions. Yeah, so I guess that's pretty much it. If we have other questions for you, Ahmed, we're going to reach out to you, and you can just stay on the call in case you have any questions in the chat box.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Yep.
Yeah, good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. So we're going to move right now to the next session, which is like our last session for this year's Kwarabuild conference. And in the next 10 minutes. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to start our next session at exactly 1 o'clock. So if you have any question, please drop it on the chat box. If you so we're going to also check with our audience who are attending physically if they have questions, and then we'll send it to Ahmed. I can see a new message. All right, so Ahmed, I mean, you're superstar. Everybody's saying your session was good, amazing presentation, amazing one, Ahmed. Yeah, nice. Let's keep bringing it on. So you can please share this session. You can share our conversation with your friends. We're coming to the end of Kwarabuild 2021 conference already, and it's been an amazing 3 days with everybody. And I'm sure that you've all learned one thing or the other that will be resourceful for you for the next year. So.
Let me see. Is the speakers joining? You okay?
Yeah, I did it.
Speakers.
Mustafa is there.
Dre, what is going on now?
Okay, so guys, so we're gonna be having refreshment for everyone. Apparently, those who are joining us physically. So if you're joining us virtually, please take a cup of juice, eat some biscuit, and enjoy the last session of the program. So I can see that we have a question here. So Ahmad, you're still here, right?
Yes, I'm still here.
So someone said, how does this benefit a product designer? Where can they find their setting in regards to the whole Swift Excel? The floor is yours, Ahmed.
Yes, cool. I mean, really, really nice question. As a product designer, where can you find yourself sitting in regards to the Swift Excel? Swift Excel. So yeah, again, I would say it depends on what you're trying to achieve, right? So if you mean like a product, because we have a product designer in-house working with Swift Excel, and what the person just tries to do is try to communicate more with our users and make sure that okay, initially we had this deploy parts, that was a little bit more complicated, and then I mean we've sort of like iterated quickly and then just made it that very easily. But I'll say as a product designer, they are sort of like building so that is internally for Swift Excel. But if you're building externally, let's say you're building you're working for a company and then you want to leverage on Swift Excel. So I would say it depends on like what your target is, right? So if you feel like what you're trying to build needs like an ARV campaign, and then you could easily just come to Swift Excel, and then just leverage on the platform. Does that answer your question?
Okay, let's see the banking that answers your question.
Cool.
Okay, yes, it does. Thank Hi everyone, we're back, and this summer we're back for the last session. As I said, this is like the last day for the 2021 Kwarabuild conference, and we're going to be having an interesting wrap-up session. So we have the amazing Ango Mustafa. I'm just going to give a brief background of who they are. So Ango Mustafa is a co-founder of Uplift Up. He holds an MBA in entrepreneurship and business development. He is a product management enthusiast, trainer, podcaster, and business growth strategist and entrepreneur. He is passionate about building people through human capital development, developing outstanding product and seamless process. When he's not exploring building a business around real-world problems, he pursues personal interest in art, public speaking, training, clothing making, fashion designing, and podcasting. That's Ango Mustafa. And yes, and then we have, sorry. No, the profile is not. Okay, yeah, so as soon as I get other guest profiles, I'm going to read them. So, so why are we having this session? Achieving community-based growth for individuals and companies. A lot of professionals and companies promote the impact of communities in the African tech ecosystem. They speak well about the opportunity, building networks of influence, accountability, and collaboration. From boot camps to tech meetups and conferences, and many more forms, communities thrive on shared understanding and a thirst for bonding. This panel session seeks to shine some light on what it takes to build sustainable communities, especially in the tech space. It will also explore how individuals can take advantage of communities for personal growth. The panel will also discuss how companies can and could adopt community marketing strategy for their benefit and the benefit of their product. So I'm going to be reading the profile of Abiodun Fiwa. Abiodun has spent a good time over life using skills and career experience to train and mentor aspiring UI UX designers to grow and strive in the industry. She is a design facilitator with over 5 years experience organizing design meetups and bootcamp. She's also a Figma Africa ambassador. Fiwa is a product designer who is so passionate about solving complex problems. Currently, the lead product designer in a company. She is the founder of Paxel's Design School, a school that is solely focused on training sorry, I'm trying to get this. Okay, focus on trainees and beginners and intermediate UI UX designers to grow and thrive in the industry. Fiwa believes that this business environment is changing at a fast pace, though business problems require technical skills and soft skills to create a sustainable solution. And that is why she takes delight in mentoring aspiring designers to take time to practice, improve, and explore different ways of problem solving through a design thinking approach. Fiwa enjoys chilling on YouTube and Netflix or experimenting different foods in restaurants around Lagos. I mean, that's fun. And then we have Olale Adelagres, who is a software developer and a tech community advocate with over 5 years experience in the tech industry. She is a co-organizer at Google Developers Group and Kwarabuild Tech Community. Adela is an assistant director of Femini Institution, a virtual trainee of FemCode Africa. She is also an ambassador of Women Tech Makers. She's also an ambassador of Women Tech Makers, the Women in Tech wing of Google Developers Group, together with a team at Consult, a digital solution company. She is currently working on a product named Monates, a microfinance cooperative solution built to solve all inadequacy of all sorts of record keeping and tracking a microfinance cooperative organization. She is committed to helping others, especially women, in designing a roadmap for successful tech career by providing technical guidance and mentorship. She is a regular speaker at technical conferences and workshops. Nice. And then we have Anidi Udo Ubong. It's professional. Is an IT professional, open source evangelist, JavaScript developer, and product manager with over 12 years practical experience working with startups in the human resource, computer-based testing, media, online news publishing, finance, which is a mobile money, education, logistics, and location-based service ride-sharing industries. Currently, program manager, and developer ecosystems of Sahara Africa for Google. So, guys, I've read a lot of bios, and I must say that they all have something in common: consistency. And I'm so excited to be moderating this session with Mustafa as panelists, as well as Adiola and Fiwa and Anide. So, are we ready, guys? Let's have everybody on stage.
Hi.
So, I like your smile, Fiwa. Your smile is so nice.
Thank you.
Okay, so I guess we're all ready. I can't see Adiola yet, and then I can't see Anide. Okay. All right. So I'm going to start my conversation with Mustafa. I mean, I know you to be a tech enthusiast. At the same time, you are very, very passionate about the fashion industry. So, do you agree that organizations and companies should build communities around their brand, services, or products?
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much for having me. Can you all hear me?
Yes, very good.
Okay. Okay. So the winner of the next decade will put community at the core of how they do business. And what do I mean by that? It's not just about you building products. It's about having people that are passionate about your product. You know, your community will scale your business, your resources, and they amplify your marketing even more than the traditional marketing techniques. You know, customers that feel part of a community are more likely to refer friends and are less tempted to even leave for competitors. So it is very important for companies to build communities around how they run their businesses.
Okay, yes. Yeah, so I mean, you're very correct, and then I think this would also help communities, to share ideas. Everybody can bring, innovative ideas to the table to upgrade at a certain time of the product or the services they're trying to offer. So, Fiwa, so I have this question for you. What are the one or two major challenges, in building a Paxels, or what are the challenges that people face in doing that? Thank you.
Okay, so thank you so much. I really appreciate the team for this amazing work. It has really been interesting listening to all of the conversations since. So one or two challenges that we are presently facing in Pexels as a company. Okay, we actually have, the truth is that there is no how we are not going to, face one or two challenge at every point in Pexels, starting from the day we started the product, because it's a product on its own, right? So we have always encountered one or two struggles. So at every point, there will be struggle that will showcase. But presently now, I would say that the problem or the challenge we are facing right now is in growth. So Pexels is in a stage where it's actually growing really, really fast. And it demands that we improve in our management. It demands that we make research on how to even, make sure that the growth is being maintained and properly managed. So I remember that at the initial stage of Pexels Design School, when we started Pexels, all of our students were on WhatsApp. At that point, I don't think I've ever thought about it that we are going to train up to 200 and something students. So my mindset was just to build a school to train people on UI UX design, and all of the struggle that I personally faced when I started the journey into UI UX design. I don't want other people to face that. So at that point, everyone was on Instagram, on a WhatsApp group. But I remember during our fourth cohort, we had to change our students or move our students into Slack channel. So part of the growth, so I think that was the fourth cohort. So the growth then, the challenge then was how to manage the students, how to manage the numbers of the students. So we had to put them into Slack channel. And moving forward, we started having more students, and I noticed that myself alone cannot train them. So we have to bring in people that can train them more. So we started having different departments. Right now at Pexels Design School, we have the education department, we have the product department, we have the management department at Pexels Design School. So, and also right now we have also improved on our financial management. It's different from what it was before. The way we manage the fintech finances is different. We have to employ a lot of people. So above all, what I'm trying to say is that at every point at Pexels, at every point, every month, every day, right, we are always faced with one or two challenges, and everything has always been towards the growth of the company itself, because it's becoming bigger every time. Do you understand? So those are some of the challenges that we face, and that's how we are tackling them.
Yeah, I mean, it's so brilliant how you were able to quickly adapt with the fact that you know that what you're doing is going to attract more people to come in, and you try to be more innovative and ensure that everybody gets the share of the knowledge. I mean, that's super awesome. And I like the strategy you use in tackling the challenges that you face. So I'm still on you, Kira. I'm going to ask, ratio of men, to women in intakes and graduate of the academy. What's the ratio like? What's the ratio, women and men in your academy? Like how many people?
I get. So at the initial stage, right, we have more men than women, and right now we still have more men than women. The only difference is that at the beginning of Pexels, we have about 90% men, right, to 10% women. But right now we have about 60% men and 40% women. Do you get? So that's how it is right now. That's the ratio. We usually have more men than women, but it's getting better every day.
Okay, nice. So back to you, Mustafa. How would you define community? With what we've said about how communities are very, very important. So how would you define a community?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. But first, before I define that, let me start by defining what a community is not. You understand? A community is not your audience, the numbers of the followers you have on social media network. Community might take place on the social media channels, Slack, or some forums you create on WhatsApp. The community, basically, it's about people that are passionate about your product. It's about the mindset. It's about the intentionality. It's about people that care about what you're offering. And then the kind of vibe they get from using your product, that is what defines a community. And then we have two types of community. We have a community of product and a community of practice. So what do I mean by that? A community of products is a community that is built specifically around the product the company is selling. Members of this community often share product tips, they share tricks amongst each other, they report bugs, and even send queries for the company support team. Those are the community that like a community of that exists basically for a product. Like for those in the product analytic field, there's mixed panel. There's a particular mixed panel community where people discuss about how to use this, how to use that, any issue they have using the product. So that's basically a community of products. Now, what is a community of practice? A community of practice, on the other hand, revolves around a general concept rather than a product or a specific offering that a company is giving. It's like, for example, I can say community of practice is like the Google developer group. You understand? It's like the Google developer. It unites people of the same specializations or of the same interests. So that's basically how I see what community is. Most of us tend to think that the number of followership you have on Twitter, the number of followership you have on Instagram or the likes, those are your community. Your core community and those that are quite important and you could call as a community are those that give constructive feedbacks and are passionate about the products and are part of the growth of the product.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. Coming, I just want to spotlight. Okay, yeah, so I totally agree with you, Mustafa. I mean, as I said earlier, communities are very, very important, especially if we really want to grow in this space that we find ourselves. You can be in tech, you can be in other sector, but if you don't have a community to back you up, you may not have the knowledge of how you can grow. So we have another panelist here, Anidi, who just joined in. I read his profile earlier, so amazing work he's doing. Anidi, welcome. Can you hear me?
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, good. I can hear you.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very clearly.
All right.
Okay. So
hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm going to allow you to ask the first question, and then I can do also a brief introduction while we go ahead.
All right, sure. And to let you know, I already read your bio, so everyone is familiar with who you are and what you do. So I'm going to ask this question. What are the challenges faced by community builders when expanding into new countries in Africa? I mean, you work at Google and you have a background understanding of the challenges that you guys have faced while trying to expand across African continent.
I think that's a very good question. Just so you know, I'm actually taking this call in the car. So if it gets cut off, just hope you don't mind. So I'm just going to put off my video and then I'll continue. So I think if you've also tried to build a community anywhere, whether you're moving into a new city, a new state, a new country, the challenges are quite similar, right? So the first thing is that you find is that there are cultural differences, right? So, for instance, in Nigeria, you would find that many of us are quite, I would say,
outgoing. So one thing that you may find is that if you start building a community, people may reach out to you and say, oh, I want to join, I want to follow and help you, I want to organize. People also have things around maybe personal glory or a little bit about ambition and hustle, where they would step up to request to participate, or you could even have things like leadership tussles. Who leads the community? Who does what role, right? The issue is when you go to other places, it's not the same. It starts with just the culture. Like there's a difference between Francophone and Anglophone countries. In Francophone countries, there's a lot more people are they're a lot more chilled. Some of the events could even be better.
Yeah, I mean, we understand that network.
Better organized. You don't get this. You don't get the same. Can you hear me now?
Yes, very well.
Okay, I think it's because people are trying to call me while I'm talking, but I'll keep them at bay. So you don't get the same reaction in every place you go. So I think the first thing you need to understand is that things are going to be different. Depending on the place, depending on the people, depending on the community, depending on the culture, it's going to be slightly different. Even in a diverse country like Nigeria, if you're going to open any kind of technology community, you can't expect the same kind of reception you get in Ikot-Ekpene to be the same as the reception in Aba, to be the same as the reception in Kaduna. You know, it's going to be slightly different. So you need to you need to have different expectations when you're beginning to sort of like start to build your community. I think the second thing about one of the things you might also encounter is things around volunteering and service. In some places, volunteering and service comes naturally to people. In some other places, everybody expects to get paid. So whereas communities are usually open and they're usually based on, you know, service of members, you might find yourself in a situation where some people expect that they should get paid, or they should, you know, something should be done for them before they commit themselves to any sort of activity. So that is one thing that you should be very, very cautious about. The culture of the people, the way they serve, and finally, the last thing you need to be aware of is also the competence of the people. In some areas, when you go to open up a community, it may be very easy to find speakers, facilitators, and based on that, it's easy to start the community. In some other areas, it's not going to be that easy. You might have to, in quotes, import the speakers. You might have to, you know, build collaborations just to get your event up and running. I think the one that even shocks me the most is one of the people I work with was a lady in South Africa, and she was a Google developer expert. And she was called to speaking at an event. And when she stepped up to the event, the room was full of men. And all the men folded their hands and did not even open their laptops and were looking at her like, what does this young lady want to come and tell us experienced software engineers that have been in the business for 20 or 30 years? So sometimes it's that the community is even more advanced, or the attendees at the event are further ahead in their career. And because of that, it poses a challenge to even the person who is coming to come and say, I want to teach you maybe software or blockchain or cloud. You might find yourself in an environment where the people who are attending might have more experience or be more competent than even the community you're coming to introduce. So I think understanding sort of the dynamics of the particular place you're going to, the culture of the people there, what kind of even topics will appeal to them. You know, in some areas, they like enterprise topics. You know, they might be thinking of things that have to do with enterprise software, server, backend, while in some other places, they may be thinking of consumer apps, things that are similar to a WhatsApp clone or a Netflix clone, or some kind of services that do things like ride sharing, or people want to learn those kind of very sexy technologies, you know, React and Vue.js, the latest things. While in some other places, people are more interested in scalability, performance. So in the long run, there's actually a great article that I can refer you to, written, I think, by David Spinks of CMX Hub, and it's called The 7 Ps of Community. I totally recommend that you read the article about the 7 Ps of community. It talks about things like purpose, the place, the people, even the policies that govern a community. A very interesting article. I totally recommend everyone to Google the 7 Ps of community, and it breaks it down in such a way that when you want to start a community, whether it's locally or internationally, figuring out what is the purpose, what is the place, who are the people you are addressing, what are the policies governing attendance, leadership, succession, how long the leader lasts. Just check it out, and I think that would be a great reference. And I'm going to stop here for now.
Thank you so much, Anidi. I mean, we have fans already. They already posted it on the chat box at the link to directly read about the article. And I know that you're moving, and I'll just make sure that I ask you questions like coherently so that you can answer them. And then we'll have Ango and Amfiwa. So Anidi, again, I like that you mentioned about how one of your staff at South Africa was able to handle a crowd of men. So there's this stereotype in tech space where there's this trending about how female are being sexually harassed, you know, while trying to get into the tech and digital space. Is there like a system that govern the stereotype of females at Google, that when anybody gets to work at Google, they can easily report issues like this. And what is Google also doing to help startup community to help them solve the problem of sexually harassing girls or women before they can get them into working in the tech space? Yeah.
Well, that's a very strong question. First of all, I think the tech space is a mirror of society, right? So if there are predators in a society, there will be predators in a tech space. If there are quacks in society, if there are pretenders, there will be quacks and pretenders in the tech space. Now, just like I talked about the 7 P's of community, the first thing you have to understand is you should try and set the policy of the community up front, right? This is an open community. Everyone is welcome here. Sexual harassment is not tolerated. Everyone is welcome irrespective of gender, stereotype, religion, age, class. So these things that you call code of conduct or guidelines, it's always very good to emphasize them. At many events like we conduct, if I don't do all these code of conduct guidelines, if you don't publish them openly, put them on your website, I personally could get in trouble as someone who's been trained to make sure I take cognizance of such things. So I think it's first of all important to educate everyone that in a community, it's not going to be self-governing perfectly by default. Everyone has to play a part. And that culture of openness, welcoming everyone has to be emphasized. Now, some communities are not completely open. You could have an exclusive community, like something in the Google, you can have something like Google Developer Experts. You have to qualify to be a member of that community. You have to be recognized. So if it is defined that this activity is restricted or excluded to these kind of people, then definitely you need to understand that you need to just set the policy so that people don't violate those policies, or at least people know what the policies are. One thing I think we've done very well is to try and help champion the cause of women, right? It is less likely that sexual harassment will happen if the balance in attendance was 50-50. It's less likely, or it's more likely that more women would attend an event if at today's event, a woman is the moderator. Then when I'm thinking of coming for the event tomorrow, I will remember there were women in the audience, there were women in the leadership, there were women in the organization, and I feel like coming for the subsequent event is important. But if I come to an event today and it's all men, and there were only 2 women in the whole event, then it's very likely that in the next event, we will either have 3 women or 0 women. So when you create an event, you need to be intentional about how the event is publicized. Sometimes, even on the flyer of the event, if there are 8 speakers and 8 pictures are on the flyer, and they're all 8 men, then sometimes women will just feel, okay, it's a boys' club event. This is not for us. Let's look for our own. So I'll say 2 things here. One is that at Google, we've championed things like Women Tech Makers. We've sponsored events like Django Girls, Women in Tech, Rails Girls. So we try to provide sponsorship for some of those events so that more women can come into technology. So we will say that we are providing more opportunity and more resources for women to come into technology. We're not lowering the bar. We're not saying that, okay, let's just find one woman and give her a job. We're saying sometimes because people don't see representation or because people don't see enough of themselves, then they do not feel encouraged to participate. So programs that we run, like Women Tech Makers, programs we support like Girls in Code, Women Who Code, Black Girls Tech, I think all those things are helping increase the representation, increase the opportunity, create safe spaces for women to, congregate. And also, I think recently, I'm sure there was even that part of WTM Ilorin and neighboring chapters that were involved in an online safety hackathon. So nowadays, you see sometimes within Google Maps, there are things around safety for women. There are things around places where either rape or crime occurs, just to make sure that people can be sure that even the tools and the products they are using are sort of gender sensitive and gender safe. Coming back to these sort of peculiar cases in Nigeria now, I think I'm very encouraged that people are speaking up. and people are standing up. Like people are putting themselves on the line and say, DM me if this happened to you. Somebody says, I'm going to call you out, and everybody in Nigeria will know that I'm the one that called you out, and there's nothing you can do about it. So that sort of courage and boldness, I'm not saying that comes from Google, but I'm saying that comes from empowered women, that comes from accomplished women, and we should continue to support such initiatives that when an incident happens, you call it out. If you're internal within Google, we have a link called go/say something. If something happens, if you see something, say something. So we have like anonymous reporting tools. We have tools that you can report and still put your name. But if you're afraid of being victimized or, being attacked, we also have anonymous tools. And I think in events like feedback form, don't always put a feedback form that somebody has to sign in. Because if something happened and I have to sign in to report, I may not feel comfortable reporting. So make feedback possibly anonymous so that if there was an issue, people can report. Also, let people know who or where to report to, right? You can say it very clearly. If you're not comfortable or something happens to you, report to this person. Don't just assume that there are 7 organizers, 6 speakers, 5 veterans or whatever, or tech bros. Don't just assume that if something happens, everybody knows what to do. Guide people.
Yeah. I mean, you have a very, very valid point, and I'm really happy to see that individuals and organizations are really stepping up their games in ensuring that they have policies. And it is also very important that communities and
something happens to you, speak to this guy.
Network. Okay, yeah. So
if you get groped or report anonymously, send a text to this number. Those kind of things are very helpful.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you so much, Anidia. As I was saying, I mean, these things are very, very valid and they're very, very important. And companies and organizations, communities need to ensure that they provide a seamless policies that people can easily read and understand. So you don't make it complex and they get to like ask questions. Let them just read and understand and know it's okay for them to work at your company or it's not convenient for them. And then on the feedback, I think is also very key. And that is what we're practicing here at Kwarabuild to ensure that, whenever we have our conference, we get feedback, on how to build us better for the next year. So I'm going to go back to Fiwa. So my question is, are there specific strategies used to encourage women to be part of your program that you do?
All right, thank you so much for that. And also thank you for Anidi. I really enjoyed his conversation, really makes sense. So the strategies that we are putting in place or that we have put in place and we are still putting in place, number one is education, right? And I personally thought about it. There was a time that I usually go, message, do broadcast, tell women, come for this program, come and learn UI, UX design, and all of those things, come for this event, come for Kwarabuild, come for this tech, women tech maker, and all of those things. And you will see that we are going to see very low number of them. So I thought about that and I observed that is really not working as much as I wanted it to. So I said, pushing my own self out, start talking live, right? On social media, you're going to see me doing live, talking to women, saying things about my own challenge as a woman, how I'm trying to work and how I'm, discussing with my boss, how I'm trying to get job as a freelancer, how is my pricing like, showing people my results, showing the women my results, right? So these have helped them to understand it in a clear way, rather than me just telling them, come and learn this, come for this event, come for that event. So I'm beginning to push my own self out there so they can see, and a lot of them can see that, okay, I think I can also do, let me try this as well. So that's number one thing that I am personally doing, like showing myself so that other people can have that confidence that, okay, I think I can do this. And, when you even speak to them, then they can believe it. When they see your results, they can believe it and they can also try it. So we are trying that for the women. The second thing we are doing at Peck Sales Design School for those women is that we are actually holding free boot camp for them. right? I think 2 times this year we have done special boot camp for only women, like just women, bringing them on board, and they actually responded. The last one really was really amazing. We have people from Nasarawa, a lot of people from Kano, Kaduna, Enugu, Abuja, places that I've never been to. These are the places that these women came from, and it was really engaging discussion with them. During the special boot camp, it's quite different because we don't just focus on the technical skills alone with them. We also talk to them about soft skills. We also talk to them how this particular career path is not just for women, and it's not just for men, but also we want women to participate. And a lot of them are beginning to respond. I mentioned it that at the initial stage of the company, we only have 90% male students coming into the school and 10% female students. But right now we have 60% male and 40% female. So we hope it's going to become 50-50 very soon. The last thing we are doing right now is for us to get sponsorship, right? So we reach out to organization, we reach out to individual. Presently, the one that has really worked for our company is actually the individual sponsorship. We have a lot of individuals that have sponsored hundreds of students, few students for full scholarship, and part sponsorship as well. So these are the things that we are putting in place to help get women into UI UX design.
Nice. I love your strategy, and I was going to ask about partnership from Anidi. So I currently lead Girl Up in Nigeria. It's a United Nations Foundation campaign, and we're trying to do an e-STEM event next year for secondary school girls and all of that. So if such program, how can we access opportunity from your end at Google Africa? How can FIWA access opportunity from your end at Google Africa to reach more people, to enable us? Because everybody, at the end of the day, when we talk about community, everybody have different communities with different people, and it will also benefit your own expansion at Google in reaching out to more people. So how can we reach out for such partnership with Google in Africa and in Nigeria especially?
I think the first things first is knowing who to send an email to. So now you can reach out to me. My name is, my email address is anyedi@google.com. It starts there. But we also have programs that come up once in a while. I think last year we had what we call the Google Impact Challenge and girls, and organizations were supposed to come to act between about $250,000 and $3 million per organization if you qualify for the Google Impact Challenge. So this kind of things will come up once in a while. I always tell you have to subscribe to either the Google Africa blog or stay in touch with some of the people who work in these companies who tweet and retweet and do stuff around that. A lot of scouting that we do. So if you're doing excellent work in the region, you find that you're very difficult to support you on it. So what tends to happen is that someone who has done something for 2 or 3 years consistently, if you're running a summer camp, maybe you've done it for 4 consecutive semesters.
Okay, I guess we lost Anidi already. So we're just gonna move on quickly to Mustafa. So Mustafa, how can business, companies and small scale businesses build communities and leverage existing communities, based on your uplift org that you have about you, as well as your Musi clothing. So how do you merge all of these things together to ensure that you're not duplicating effort and the informations are not overloaded?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. Let me start by this. We live in a time where customers have unprecedented volume of options. So whatever it is that you're doing, there are tons of other people that are doing the same thing. And customers are more inclined towards that brand that gives them that sense of connection. That's the only thing that separates you from the tons of options out there. So whatever it is, whatever business you're doing, or whatever product or process you're selling, finding a way to meet your customers at their point of need is very important. And we all know that humans are social animals. We want a way to network, we want a way to interact. Think of the early days of Instagram. You come for the retro filters, but you stay for the network, right? You come for the tool and then you stay for the network. So it's important for startups to know and understand that building communities, it's not just about having a Facebook group or a Twitter. It's about finding a way to meet your customers, knowing who they are first, understanding their likes and their interests, and then you find a way to build a community around that. For early startups, community members act like your focus groups, where they give value feedbacks, and then you for example, you might build your MVP, send it to your community, the focus groups. They give you feedbacks on how to improve on them. They act as your evangelists. A lot happens within the community. When you do these things right, community will help you improve your customer acquisition, streamline supports, because you tend to get feedbacks from your customers, probably from just chats, and your support and success, the retention rate of your customers will increase. It's not just about acquisition. It's not just by the number of people that are subscribing to your product or by the number of people that are buying your product. It's about how many people are staying. So it's about the growth is what comes from the stay, and community is what will give you that growth. So community is very important. Just know what business you are into, your customers, how to get to them, their likes and interests, and then find the platform that would serve your tribe. Right. It's not just about Twitter, not just about Facebook, not just about the tool is minimal here. It's about the vibe within the community. It's about the interest they have with the community.
Very, very valid. And that's why we established at the beginning that community is very important for the growth of that community or what you do. You cannot just say, oh, I want to have a product, and then I want to do this, I want to do that, but you don't have a community that can help you review it. Before your product goes to the market, you should be able to share your product amongst the members of your community, and they check it out, give you an insider feedback, before you guys take it to the market. It's very, very important. In tech space, for a larger audience, we have students. Everything that you're saying, okay, sorry, I had to. Can you hear me?
Your network is unstable. Don't worry.
Your network was actually breaking, so I
can
hear you.
It was.
Okay, so can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Network.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Good. I'm so sorry. Network. Yeah, good. So my last question for the two of you, Fiwa and Mustafa, you guys have grown in this space and you understand how important communities are. You understand how important support are. And then at the same time, right now, we have a lot of people who are picking interest in the ecosystem space, who are picking interest in tech, startups, and all of that. What are your words for these guys to strive in this space and in their communities? 1 minute each. So who goes first?
Ladies
Okay,
first.
let me go first. Let me go
Okay,
first. All right. So for anyone that wants to transition into tech, my advice is for you to start now, like start right away. Yeah, so there is no need for you to be spending more time to think about it. I want you to start right away. Every one of us, I remember when I started, I did not know I'm going to get to this point in my career, and I'm still going to move above this career. Do you understand? So I did not overthink it then. I just started with the learning. Do you understand? And in the learning, I started building competency, which is something that when you start learning, I want you to understand that the competency is the key. Yeah, so don't learn something casually and the next time you are coming back to say I'm done, and when we test you, you are not there. Do you understand? So I want you to actually build competency when you're learning. When you build competency, you will not be ignored. Do you understand? You are not going to be ignored. The moment you have that competency to do that job well, they are going to employ you. And that's one thing I emphasize for my students at Pexels Design School. You don't come to this school to come and play or to just come and be drawing rectangle. The rectangle you are building, you are drawing, what is the meaning of it? Why are you making that decision? So when you are learning any skill, make sure you build it to the point of competency. Do you understand? Because there are actually jobs out there. The only issue we have is that we have very few people that have correct talent. Do you understand? So that is my own point for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fiwa. Over to you, Mustafa.
Okay, let me just build on what Fiwa said. You know, I think it's very important also for you in the beginning to know who you are as a person and to be able to choose a track or a career in tech that fits you as a person and not just what the reigning thing is. A lot of people are moving towards products nowadays. So it's very important you know who you are, you know what fits you, such that you won't be frustrated in between, and also for you to define what success means to you and then your own growth plan. It's not just about you learning and learning. What do you intend to actually achieve from this? And distractions come here and there from other people doing this, other people doing that, then that inferiority complex sets in. So it's very important for you as well to define what success and what growth means to you. And then that will help you to be outstanding in the space.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Mustafa and Fiwa. It's been an amazing time sharing this panel with you all.
Thank you very much for having me.
Not goodbye yet. So I have to go on to the stage now and ask if our audience have questions for you. And then if you have questions for Mustafa or Fiwa or another person, you can just drop them on the chat box and we're going to reach out. So let me just walk out now to go and coordinate the questions. Thank you so much. Just give me a few minutes.
Okay. Mustafa, what is your LinkedIn handle?
At Ango Musti, ANGOMUSTEE.
Musti.
Yes, Ango, ANGO
Okay, please spell it. That's M-U-S-T. Can you just type it in the chat section so that
I think it's there already.
Oh, it's there already.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. So you've sent the connection, right?
Yeah.
Okay, waiting. So
actually connected on Instagram, actually.
Oh, okay. Oh. So we'll talk further from there. I'm quite interested in what you do.
Thank you.
All right, Mustafa, you are. So
yes.
my audience says they don't have questions for you guys. So I have a question. All right. So thank you so much for so you guys can check out Ango online at all social media platforms. You can also check out Design on Instagram to follow them. And you can always follow them because we had a global as one of the partners. And you can follow their work. So thank you so much, guys, for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Have a good day.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello. We have come to the end of the year Kwarabuild conference. And I would like to know who attended from day 1 to day 3. Day 1 to day 3. Yeah. Day 1 to day 3. Online. I know. Online. Okay, so ask you guys questions. As you can see, I have a couple of questions, and I'm slowly people to tell you. Yes, that's my question. So I'm slowly people. Take it. If I finish sharing my question. All right, let's have. Is it one? Okay, it's conference. Yeah, you have them from day 1. Yeah. Online. Day 2. Online. What happened yesterday? What happened tonight?
They talked about
What's facilitator?
I didn't follow through.
What was you wearing? Oh wait, you attended online. The camera was on. So let's have this stop. You actually want to tell us what it does, something, and how you guys think. Come in. So you have 2 minutes. Thank you.
First of all, my name is Michael, CEO Fashion. So, fashion, yeah, so let's start. How many of you have phone here that you sell? Like, you want to build phone, or you want to resell the old one? How many of you have that? Phone, laptop, CD, theater, anything you want to resell? Okay, you want. Well, one is not like just you have just want to sell. How many of you have that? You have. Okay, I want to ask another question. How many of you have, okay, how many of you have sold something this year? Like you sold something online, one day you're always because okay. So how many days it takes to sell? The thing is so how many days it takes to sell? Like how many days, like how long do you take to sell? Yeah. 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Who else? Who else have sold online? You. Yeah, that's the problem. When you want to sell something online, you sell one, sell laptop, one, sell this. Problem people are looking at that. You don't see instant seller. You don't see seller things to faster. So we discovered that okay, this is general problem that people have. Then okay, we came up with something called fashion. All fashion was okay, one sale, one seller, just off the shop, like selling this office and get instant cash for your cash for your gadgets. Instantly, without stressing yourself, without even waiting so long for say a buyer or a seller. Just walk up to the shop, give them your phone, check it, you want to check what meet up the criteria, and you cannot get it. And secondly, how many of you want to change it? Let's how many of you want to change it? Want to change it? How many of you want to change it? How many of you want to change it? Okay, can I ask you who you want to do? Okay, what is the problem? Why are you not changing? You don't have that's the problem. Okay, price of you guys are so expensive. Imagine one buy a phone and 10 million that you have make 1 million. It's not possible. Imagine one say on the house like the night is the story. Okay, imagine one sorry, want to buy a new phone and just to give each other. You can't stop just not even afford that. But with first of okay, we provide a quality phone. They don't have to be scared about okay, they buy this phone now, what about this the amount is doesn't want. You don't care about that. First of all, after that for you. You don't have to care about okay, you want to you want the phone and the next 2 days when you start talking you don't before it's good, don't worry about that session. So we don't have any issue and the phones are very affordable and working company. That's the question. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, before we have another person, thank you so much. Before we have another person come and say again, please, the long period, let us have fun and not stop. So, first off, yes, if you I just said, I mean, if you are not, okay. Who is speaking on that? Who is speaking for that? Are you what? What does that mean? What's the username? What's the username? You can confirm this is the one that okay, so we're going right now to share this game. So my first question is, what is the name of the first facilitator for the first live session at the 2021 Kwarabuild Tech Conference? What is the name of the first facilitator? What's the name of the first facilitator? This one. You know the funniest part? I just wanted to just get you right. I didn't want to care about the portfolio. First of all, the name is not Jimmy. That's one. It's not just Jimmy. That's one. Secondly, it's not from innovation or stuff kind of space. So you didn't get it right. Thank you so much. Thank you for attending our conference. I'm accepting something for your goodness. All right. What's the name of the female that participated in section yesterday? Her full name. I mean, if you guys are coming to friends, you read about the speakers. You know what the people they have before you come and listen to them. That way you're familiar with them. If you just Google for me, bring your phone and then pop it. Just come, let's go. No, Gypsy, you guys, be press your phone and looking at those speakers. Yeah,
My name is I am studying art.
What? And you know when you went out of the room, you said, studying of. That's not correct. I'm not going to ask, like, I'm not going to take two answers for one. No. So, my next question. When was PayStack founded? Okay, no, we are confident of this. We're not ready. When was PayStack founded? I'm serious. That is your phone. No. Anybody that don't know. Oh yeah. Come. Then let's go. Come on. You think this is not that? Come now. I will go for this. My next question. What was Kwarabuild founded? Yeah. Okay. 2019. This is 2019 when? Another person. What you guys get? It's not so much. Sure. When is it March? Hello, it's March. It's October. So Kwarabuild was founded in October 2018. So, oh yeah. We recently had our Dev 2021 event. And a lot of people were there. I saw you guys. I was not here, but I was hearing live now. So, what is the name of this Dev Fest, right? Google Developer Group. So, what is the name of the regional manager for Google? You No. No. Thank you. Thank you so much. So I'll put that basic question. So that it's easier and not go. I mean, but seriously, you guys want to stress this space. It's important that you have information. Even if you have an idea, fine. I mean, it's very, very important because you can be in a space. You don't know the kind of people you're going to be meeting. I don't want to lose that opportunity. Like, you don't want to ever lose out on them. Opportunities come down. You can be here and you can have a job who's actually here. And you know, right? Yeah. So let's go to basic questions. Let's go to basic questions. Yes, on the presentation, sometimes it's like compound answer. What's the name of the co-founder of Kwarabuild? I love that you are really interested in answering this question. But the answer is wrong. How about okay, who answers that question first? Because it's correct. That that's correct. Okay, don't attend quiz. Okay, so we're almost done with the matter that I'm looking at. What's the name? Thank you so much for attending. What's the name? Why are you here? Why are you here? You should be easy. You can go. Are you a part of this? You're part of this. You're part of it. You're part of it. You sure? Okay, I'll get Kamadi to sign it for you. Yeah, so you can move around with the sign of like so. Okay. Next question. What's that answer down? What's that? What is my name? I don't know. Let me go back. Wait. You can do it. I don't know. What is my full name? My full name. See, it's not like I'm being sense. The answer I see up first. It's not about me. I think that this is my name. What's my full name? Are you asking me for that? Yeah, I'm asking you a question. Okay. Nobody knows my full name. You see me on Google. What do you call my name? All right, that's actually my name. My father's name cannot cover my name. Yes. I mean, that's the idea. Okay, so I'm just trying to name spot. I'm just trying to name spot. Actually, you are dead and just kidding. Yeah, thank you so much for doing my name. If you are doing it, so I don't forget. So I have a very bad, I don't have a bad drive. So my next question is, what is the name of the person who came up on stage speech? What is the name of the person who came up on stage speech for? Okay, yeah, I have developed 3 questions. What is the name of the person that came up on stage today? Yeah. What is the name, the full name of the person that came up on stage speech? Adio Majid. Adio Majid. Majid. Is that your name? Okay. All right, you got it right. Next question. Okay. You want to Hello. Please, I don't want that kind of comment. I don't like. Don't come to gathering and say that clothing was for the wearing. I mean, it's wrong. My next question. How many minutes, please? How many minutes?